Remember Mega Man X, that one Super Nintendo game that everyone likes for some reason?
What the hell is even that?
Did you know it had a bunch of sequels? Well, for no particular reason, I decided to talk about the 5th game in the series, Mega Man X5. Released in Japan in 2000 on the PlayStation and 2001 for us in Europe, X5 was meant to cap off the X series as creator Keiji Inafune wanted to transition to the Zero anthology on the Game Boy Advance. Too bad it didn't, because there's at least 3 games after this one. Oops. Despite wanting to go out in a bang, X5 fumbles more often than the clumsiest quarterman in football. Who would that even be? Don't answer that, I don't care for football to know. So let's go over why the 5 in X5 is for sucks. The game opens with you choosing between X and Zero like you would in X4. However, unlike that game, you aren't locked into one character's campaign from the playthrough, and you can switch between the 2 in between levels. The advantage of who you pick initially is one of 2 buffs. X gets the 4th armor, an armor that lets you charge special weapons, shoot a massive charge shot, and adds a layer of defense. Zero gets the Z-Buster, a short-range projectile that can only be shot while standing still, and leaves you wide open. Easiest decision on Earth. The opening stage is standard fare. The only annoying, really great part is the new mission control, Alia, constantly interrupting your progress to tell you shit you already know. Aside from the Sigma stages at the end, this happens all the time, and it's fantastic. I absolutely love it when a text box stops me dead in my tracks just to feed me unnecessary tutorials. The boss is a piece of cake, but beating him unleashes the Sigma virus across the world, causing off-screen pandemonium to humans and Reploids alike. To add insult to injury, he hires this dude called Dynamo to hijack a space station in Eurasia that crashed into the planet. X and his friends band together to stop the space station from crashing and causing global disaster. It's basically Armageddon, aka the greatest film ever made. You're gently nudged to fight the Mavericks on the left side of the screen to obtain parts to repair an old space cannon called the Enigma, to blast Eurasia into smithereens. There's also a time limit that counts down by 1 hour every time you enter a stage. So we have 16 hours to beat 8 Mavericks, and there's also 2 battles against Dynamo to slow you down. That adds up to... Oh snap! That's not enough time! I call shenanigans! Crescent Grizzly's up first and... Wait, Crescent Grizzly? Hang on, let me fix this real quick. Okay, there we go, all fixed. Grizzly Slash is up first, and this level's pretty bad. A train hopping stage where the difficulty for the early game is fair and balanced. Absolutely terrible. Next up is Duff McWhalin!
Oh yeah!
Not only is that the best Maverick name ever, but this is probably the best stage in the entire series. A slow as molasses auto-scroller where you have to fight the submarine 3 times. Genius. Even better, if you want the light capsule in the stage, you gotta backtrack to this stage since Duffman's weapon, the Goo Shaver, is required to break this wooden barrier. Let's talk about the armor upgrades really quick. In X1 through X4, obtaining an armor upgrade gave you the perk then and there. But in X5, since there's a global outbreak of robots going crazy, these were sealed off for security reasons and can only be utilized when all 4 armor upgrades are assembled. You could say that's stupid and goes against the mentality of X's design philosophy of getting stronger, but to that I say, get good, scrub. Squid Idler starts with a hilarious sucker punch. Absolutely love it. The first half is a bike section where you have to precisely jump and shoot along the path, otherwise you instantly die if you collide with anything. Also, the light capsule in the stage can only be accessed by collecting all these orbs in one clean shot. It's challenging and takes some trial and error, therefore it sucks because I died a lot here. The latter half has you shooting these switches to open doors. Since I'm no good at timing these things, I'm gonna have to chalk it up to poor game design. Easy Glow stage isn't too bad, though I am a fan of this 3D corridor effect we've seen so many times in X4 and Strider too. Also a big fan of this mini-boss, which only exists to waste your time. The first 4 Mavericks are defeated, and the cannon is ready to fire, though there is a chance of it failing even though you get all the parts you need to fix it. You can fire it early, and the chance of success is even lower if you do that. But alas, RNGesus has decreed that it doesn't work, and the only option to stop Eurasia from crashing down is to collect parts to repair this space shuttle and ram it into the station. Oh my god, it is Armageddon! Dark Dizzy's stage is terrible. All you do is use the Falcon armor to fly past the entire level. The light capsule here requires you to navigate your homing torpedo through this maze with awful collision detection. If you run out of ammo, which is Dark Dizzy's weakness by the way, there's a convenient set of spikes to jump into to reload the checkpoint and try again. Whoa, what are you, stupid? Of course you could do that! Next is the Skyver, where you have to blow up bombs before they blow up and hurt you. How does that even work? The Skyver is basically Storm Eagle, except way more aggressive, which means he's lame in comparison. I don't make the rules, that's just how it is. Man X has you hide behind rocks to avoid instant-kill magma flows, as well as a fork in the road. The low road has you ride a ride armor through molten lava, don't question how X is still alive in there. And the high road that has you fight this pterodactyl robot reminiscent of the dragon from Mega Man 2. Gotta love the dirt face on Man X when you hit him with his weakness. Finally, we have Axel the Red, whose stage is nothing to comment on aside from the fact that it's filled with guns and roses. The shuttle is fixed and Zero volunteers to pilot into the space colony. Same as the cannon, there's a chance to fail. And if your RNG is shit enough, which mine totally is, you're locked into the bad ending, where the colony crashes into the planet, causing major damage.
Now that's a lot of damage!
And Zero succumbs to the virus within him, making him unplayable for the rest of the game. If he spent the whole game playing as Zero collecting heart tanks, which aren't shared by X by the way, you get this outcome, and you're stuck with a very weak X. Fantastic game design. Have the ending dictated by luck, and punish you directly by taking away Zero. Fortunately, I was playing as X the entire time, so I give 0 fucks right now. It's endgame time, and the time limit looming over my head is finally gone. You know what that means? Clean up! At this point, I already unlocked the Guy armor, the best armor in the game. You can't use special weapons at all, but it has a bigger buster shot and can stick to walls. More importantly, it's completely immune to spikes and can push these weird blocks around by dashing into them. I used the Guy armor to collect heart tanks and other items I missed, and nothing else. It's so good, I elected not to use it for the Sigma stages. Stage 1 is the laser gimmick from Quickman stage in Mega Man 2. However, the beams are way faster here, and you have to move quickly and precisely to avoid dying instantly. If only there was a weapon that can stop time or something. You'd think the dev team would give us the courtesy. The boss here is a devil monster, because that's what the X series was missing. You'd think this fight would be way harder than the Yellow Devils before it, since it takes up 2/3 of the screen when it attacks now. But you can just wall jump in the core repeatedly and be perfectly fine. The next stage is Sigma Stage 1 from X1. It ends with a rematch against Rangda Bangda from that game as well. Love this guy, glad he's back. The third stage is an homage to all of Mega Man 4, as in it has a major hard-on for spikes. There's also the capsule containing X's Ultimate Armor or Zero's Black Suit, and both are lame. Ultimate X has all the perks of 4th Armor, and has an invincible dash attack that does a ton of damage to everything. Black Zero powers up Saber Slashes and Boost Defense. Why would you want any of those? The end boss is Awaken Zero if you got the bad ending like I did. Or you fight against regular Zero X depending on who you play as. Awaken Zero is a lot harder than the alternative, and he gave me a run for my money. I had to pull out all the stops and achieve a very narrow victory using all my varied knowledge of X's arsenal. The final level is another homage, this time for Bubble Man from 2 again, and is home to everyone's favorite part of any Mega Man game, the boss rush.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Afterwards is a short platforming section with disappearing and reappearing blocks from the classic games, ending with the final boss, Sigma. He's incredibly tricky and hits like a truck, but I beat this first form and he turns into this. What am I even looking at? He looks like Buzz Lightyear at a Kiss concert. This boss is tough with the small red orb as his only weak point, but after a tense and nail-biting battle, he's defeated and the bad ending rolls around. I do say it's the bad ending, but given what I know of Mega Man Zero, it may as well be the canon ending. And that's Mega Man X5, folks! A game with lots of potential that was wasted on stupid design decisions. The idea of a time limit in a Mega Man game can work, especially in the X series when you have so many options to go fast. But it's done in such a way that it feels like you need to do such and such a certain way. The level design could be much better in these stages, because there are good ideas here that aren't executed too well. If X5 actually did end the X series and transition to Mega Man Zero like originally planned, I would definitely call this one of the worst X games. But X6 and X7 exist, and I still think X3 is worse than this, honestly. Special shoutouts to my buddy Zero Score for inspiring me to make this video. If it wasn't for you and your interesting opinions on X5, I wouldn't have had the inspirato to come up with an elaborate way to say April Fools. Get stick bugged.